Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines is a 2003 film. This time it's not directed or written by James Cameron, which is unfortunate, but it's directed by Jonathan Mostow. Now, the plot is, it's been like 10 years since the events of the second film, and you see John Connor, who's now older, and yeah, him and his mom supposedly stopped Skynet from ever happening, but he still feels like one day it could happen, and that something is still going to happen, and technically he's right, because Skynet in the future sends back yet another Terminator, this time the TX, and her mission is to not necessarily kill John Connor, but to kill this character Kate Brewster, because in the future not only is she John Connor's wife, but she's second in command of the Resistance. So Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator, is once again sent back to not only protect these two characters, but to stop the TX. Now, what I think of Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines is, when this movie first came out, I enjoyed it. I liked it. But over the years and rewatching it, it's not like I dislike the film. I still get some enjoyment out of it. But I feel like this movie's existence is kind of pointless, or at least it discredits the powerful ending in the second film, Judgment Day. The moment where Linda Hamilton and John Connor, where they stop Skynet from ever happening, they destroy anything that's left, any remnants for anyone to try to continue Skynet, and even Arnold Schwarzenegger destroys himself to make sure there's nothing left. So the fact that this movie starts with them saying, okay, yeah, you did what you did in the second movie, but you just postponed Skynet. It's still going to happen. I get why they did it. It's really the only way to continue the story if you're going to do it. But you just feel like James Cameron never wanted or intended for the story to continue past 2. So the fact that they just do it, and it's without James Cameron, there's a little part of me rewatching this that just goes, wow, this doesn't feel right. But getting into this actual film, we see John Connor, played by Nick Stahl, and I don't mind Nick Stahl as an actor. I mean, he's decent in the film. I guess I just don't really know what to think of him as John Connor, because I don't know exactly what's in his head. When the movie starts off, he seems like he's lost in life. Like, yeah, he knows supposedly that they stopped Skynet and nothing has happened, like they originally thought as far as the timeline. But he still feels like one day it's going to happen, and he's on the run, and he's taking drugs, and he's doing all this stuff. Alright, is he waiting for this to happen? Does he want this to happen because he doesn't have a purpose in life? But then later on in the movie, he sort of says he doesn't want to be the leader of the Resistance, and he just doesn't want anything to do with this. So I just was kind of confused by his motivation throughout this film. I mean, I know he wants to stop Skynet once everything gets going, but I just didn't know exactly what was in this character's head. Obviously, it's great to see Arnold Schwarzenegger back as the T-800, seeing him as the Terminator. I love Arnold as an actor, but I feel like Terminator is kind of his character, or it's a role that he fits so perfectly. Although it does kind of suck that because he's just another robot, that everything, all the character growth that him and John went through in the second film, it's just kind of reset. And yeah, obviously, it's like, I guess that has to be the case. Christina Loken as the TX. I don't mind her. She does have that sort of creepy, blank expression, and she does match up with Arnold pretty well. The action scenes between them are pretty crazy. In fact, the action throughout this whole film is a whole lot of action. Like when the fact that she can control other machines and cars, and she has that chase of all the cars chasing after them, and when Arnold is hanging off of the forklift and she smashed them through buildings, you're kind of like, holy shit. And then later on, when the two of them are fighting and they're literally just throwing each other through walls and stuff, you're like, wow, alright, this movie clearly went all out with the action. And I see what they were going for, the fact that she's half robot and half liquid metal. You want to, I guess, combine the best of both worlds from the first two films and create a new villain. However, I don't understand why this is better than the villain in the second film. I feel like him being completely liquid metal makes him the most dangerous. Her being also part robot, just, I didn't find her more dangerous than I did Robert Patrick. The character, Kate Brewster, played by Claire Danes, I like her character. I like how they made her a big, important character. That, yeah, John Connor obviously is important, but I like that they bring in another character that is also important to the future. The fact that she's supposed to be his wife and she's second in command. In fact, there's a moment where the Terminator tells them about the future, and he tells them that John Connor dies at the hands of a Terminator and that she has to take over. I found all that interesting, hearing how the future plays out and the characters learning their fate. Okay, we find out that Sarah Connor died from cancer in these 10 years. And who knows, maybe it's because Linda Hamilton didn't want to come back. I don't know, I couldn't find anything online that said that. It just sucks to have a character like Sarah Connor, who was so strong and such a badass, and we've been following her in 2 movies, to just say that she died in between films. It's like, wow, that's pretty anticlimactic as far as her character goes. If I were to rewrite this movie, I would have loved to have her be here with John, and maybe even the two of them are back and forth on her still thinking that this will happen, Judgment Day will happen, and John thinking, no, we stopped it, and then it happens. And I would have liked in this movie for Sarah Connor to sacrifice herself, to have her die to protect John. It might sound like an obvious place for her to go, but if she's gonna die, that's kind of the only way I want to see her die. Also, too much CGI. And I get it, it's 2003, and a lot of action films in the 2000s were just loaded with CGI because Hollywood went crazy with, wow, we can do all this with computers? Alright, let's go crazy. And like I said, the action is there, and it's good action, but a lot of it is CGI, and a lot of it sort of takes me out of it because it looks really obviously CGI. It's almost like, okay, this budget is like $200 million, twice as much as the second film. Just imagine if they at least tried more practical effects, more of the action scenes being more practical. How much more awesome would that have been? And there's way too much silliness with the Terminator. Just the first scene of Arnold alone. When he arrives, he goes to the bar, and it's ladies' night. And he goes up to the guy on stage, the dancer, who's a gay guy, so when Arnold tries to take his clothes, he's just their interaction, I was sitting there getting pissed off. I'm like, not only is this not funny, but you're sort of making this Terminator character a joke. And I know that there's funny comedic moments with the Terminator in the second film, but James Cameron knew how to make those funny moments organic, and knew how to still take the Terminator seriously and never make him look like a joke. And I feel like this movie didn't know how to balance that. I will say another aspect of the movie that I did like, even though, again, the fact that this movie is happening discredits the second film. I do find it interesting that when you get towards the end of the film, and John Connor and Kate Brewster, they realize, because they're still trying to stop Skynet, they realize there is no stopping Skynet. Their mission wasn't to stop this from happening. It was to just survive Judgment Day. You couldn't prevent it. It was just, alright, these two characters have to survive Judgment Day and have to go on and do what they're destined to do. The whole idea of not being able to change your fate, I just, in general, find that interesting. So I applauded the movie for going there because I wasn't expecting them to have the bomb go off at the end. And it's one of those situations where, okay, if we have to continue the story where this movie left off, you're like, I do want to see where they take it next. So, overall, Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, I don't hate this movie, I don't dislike this film. There are stuff in this movie that I enjoy and I like. It's just, did we need this movie after the second film? I don't think so. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines? Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Later!